players, and ball retention with him was incredible, wasn't it? We haven't really replaced him in the heart of midfield. He's hard player. You can't find players with that strength. Always retain the ball. People say he didn't score enough goals, but it wasn't really his game, was it? He was there to mop up and keep the back four safe and keep that ball.
Who, Moose?
Moussa Dembele,
yeah. So does that? I mean, you there's a point you've raised to Dave about Sissoko. So is that something that could potentially become Sissoko's role about mopping up, or do you think that we need to replace him?
Well, Moussa Sissoko is now, what is he, 30, 31? We need that area in front of Toby and David Sanchez, someone that can do the dirty stuff, mop up, nothing smart, just ball retention, keeping it going, and not, feeding into Ndembele, Lo Celso, whoever's going to play in front. Obviously, it's a 4-4-2 now, isn't it? So it's going to be someone who's going to play in front of Serge, because that's where Sissoko goes out there, protects him all the time, doesn't he? So,
it's interesting that you raise Ndembele. So, I'll ask this to Pete actually, but do you think that we've not seen Ndembele again? This is another guy that potentially, with us coasting 3-0, he could have given them a minute just so that he remembers what the White Hart Lane pitch is like. Do you think he's got a future with the club next season? With, like, as Stacey said, like having that CDM, a recognised CDM. That's the talk. A recognised CDM in there, and Jose is prepared to unleash him further forward. Do you see that as being a plan?
Is our record signing? I'm sitting here, with Daniel's hat on. I'm going to be saying, Jose, you've got to make the best of an asset there. How you do it. He might be one of those guys, which does happen, doesn't come and immediately settle in this country, and he may take a little while. If maybe next season we'll see the best of him after a pre-season, however truncated that pre-season might be. Yeah. I keep hearing stories about his agent and people agitating in France. Whether the club would get anywhere near the sort of money that we paid for him back, I think extremely unlikely. Whether a loan would be of any benefit to either party, I don't know. I'd like to think that Jose, being the master manager that he supposedly is, can show that he can get the best out of this guy and fit him into our team pattern, however he sees that, whether it be plan A, rope-a-dope, or plan B, let's start playing some really fluent attacking football.
Yeah.
I think he's got in the world. Whether his attitude is right or not, I don't know. His fitness is questionable, maybe. Maybe he needs to bulk up a little bit to deal with the rigours of the Premiership.
There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of talk on Twitter about as you say, he's the record signing, and because he's the record signing, apparently, he should have settled straight away, and he should just be flying immediately because of the money that we paid for him. Now, I don't think money's not his fault. That's right. Not his problem. That's not his problem as far as I'm concerned. What is he, 22? Is he 22, 23? So relatively young-ish. And this it might be his first time away from France. Playing on his own. We don't know. I don't know his background. I don't know what his circumstances are. So if he's come and he's gone to a different country, it's not like he's gone to a quiet city. He's moved straight into the heart of London, and and he's on his own. And it could be that he could be struggling to kind of settle with all the influences that are around him, and maybe, as you say, it will be a second season where he suddenly is more effective. Andy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think the guy just needs a bit of time. Obviously, Jose likes his players to do a job. However creative they are, they have to track back. There's nobody that's going to be, a lightweight in his side. And I think Ndombele is falling into the category of just not good enough for Jose. And that's not because he's not a good enough player. It's just not fitting into how Spurs are playing at the moment. I mean, if
do you
we
see him
play...
as
Sorry.
Do you see him as a matter for, like when Jose was at Chelsea and Mata was there and he kind of shipped him out because he just didn't feel that he worked hard enough. Do you see him as in that kind of?
I don't know. I mean,
categorization.
As Pete says, there's a lot of money spent there, so the club are obviously going to try. I mean, you can't just give up on the guy, but at the same time, if he isn't going to do what the manager wants, then he can't play for Spurs. So, you can't just put him in because he can make a good pass. That's just not how it works. So I guess we're going to find out next season how he fits in. But I don't really know what his position is. Do you guys know where he really plays? Because I can't really work out whether he's more of a kind of a number 10 or a number 6, or I can't really see what he is.
Without any doubt, I think he'll play in front of a holding midfielder. He'll do the job sitting behind. I think he's got a load of ability. I think if he doesn't come good with us, he'll come good.
But he'll still need to track back if he does that job, though. Right?
Yeah, but he's got. That's the engine side of it, and where he needs to be fit as a fiddle. Midfielders are running 12 kilometres a game.
Yeah,
I don't think he's not fit. I just think that's at the moment. I think that's a mentality thing. So where Jose has turned Mora around, he's basically put an arm around his shoulder and said, "Look, you know what? You're my guy. You're going to play." He played him like there were games where, like, we were all shouting, "What the hell is he doing?" Yeah, and he was playing him, and he played him, and he's played him, and he's played him, and he's played him, and he's played him every game, and he was playing him more games than like Son and everyone. Everyone else was getting taken off, and Mora, despite falling over and getting in people's way and everything, what we saw on the outside as football fans with really little knowledge, he was playing him like every game, and now we're bearing the fruits of that. So it's just it just feels to me like it's going to be a case of will he extend the same sort of opportunity to Ndombele, because if he does, then I think we'll get the best out of him. And you look at some of the other players, the players that are playing at the moment, the players that are involved on from the side or whatever, Mora, Lamela, everyone seems happy.
Yeah.
Lo Celso, Toby, they all seem happy.
You've got Dyer, Skip, Winks, Ndombele, Lamela, Lo Celso. In the middle, it's who's gonna nail down them places in the middle. Is there an absolute world class player in there?
And of course, if we buy Holberg from Southampton, then do we keep all those players?
No,
but he reckons Skip's a future captain, so he won't be going anywhere. He'll be just getting blooded every so often, won't he? So and as you say, Sissoko's 31. Maybe maybe that'll be they'll push him out.
Probably recoup our money on Sissoko.
How much should we pay for him? 30 million.
30, yeah.
You think we'll recoup our money?
Yeah.
Daniel's
on the job, isn't he?
Optimism.
He'll probably get 70.
No. 7. No.
Anyway, so okay. We didn't cover last week on the pod, and that was kind of relating to Mourinho and Levy, and it came from David Ellis, fullback 03 on Twitter, and and I'm going to tie this into some stuff both you, Andy, and you, Stace, have kind of brought up as well. But like David asks, is Levy going to back Mourinho in this window? Like fill up the cartridge and let him fire the bullets And then obviously, if that's the case, then we'll hear no more of planes, banners, and protests. And in which case, obviously, some people's agenda will have to shift. Andy, I'm going to come to you first because you've been very vocal about the kind of anti-Jose, anti-Mourinho agenda.
Yeah, I don't quite get it. I get the fact that he used to be the Chelsea manager and did what he did there and what have you. I get if people don't like that in the same way that the man in the raincoat wasn't very popular. But I don't get it based on what he's doing because he hasn't had a lot of time. He's had a load of disruption, load of injuries. And what we're seeing after lockdown is a massive improvement to our defensive side of the game. And we all know in football that as soon as you sort your defence out, the rest of it can happen. You can't just let the attack happen and not have a defence because then you just end up with, chaos and you're going to concede goals. So I just feel that what he's doing looks right to me, and whether Levy's going to back him is a matter of, I suppose, opinion, because it depends what you mean by backing him. If Mourinho wants to go for someone like Holberg because he thinks he's the right fit, but there'll be plenty of people out there saying, well, why aren't you trying to go to Leicester with 70 million to get in Ndidi?
So yeah, do you think, because obviously depending on the name or the player that we get, the fans, the rabid, some of the rabid fans on Twitter will never countenance that it could be a Mourinho signing, and therefore they'll always see it and think, right, well, no, obviously we've gone for the cheap option again, and that means that Levy's the one that's actually buying the players and just saying, right, here's a player, and Mourinho, you need to deal with it.
Yeah, well, I don't think Levy's stupid, is he? I mean, he's put all this money and debt into the club, and he's got his legacy on the line here. So why doesn't he back the manager? Why wouldn't he do it? I just don't get that reasoning at all.
No, I agree. Stace, did you have anything to say on that?
Well, going to Daniel Levy and talking about Jose Mourinho, I still think Daniel has a big sound of transfers. I think he will. Jose will have his targets, and Daniel will go out there try and get them. He won't break the bank to get them. That's for sure. And that's the relation. That's what he signed into. And I think players will go, and that money will be used to strengthen the side. I think he'll have to sell before he buys. Shouldn't be like that, but this is a team that's got a big debt under it.
So I'm not sure how much. Obviously, I know, Pete, you within your work with the trust, you obviously have some sort of contact with Daniel in various guises. But I don't really know. I don't want to put you in any compromising situations in terms of giving your own opinion. But from when Poch was in charge, I pretty much got the feeling that what happens is that he gives a profile for a player. So he'll say, right, this is the type of player that I need. I'm looking for that profile of a player. Can you get that player for me? And then, their recruitment team will then say, right, okay, these are the three. We've identified a few options for you. And then you decide, and then he chooses. The manager then is right. Okay, those options, the one that I'm happy to go with.
Yeah, I think the setup has always been similar in the past 2 or 3 years under Pochettino, and also continuing under Mourinho. That there's a group of three, and it would include it would have included John McDermott, so it will include the academy coach from the angle of saying these are the players who are coming through who could fit maybe the criteria that you're looking for. So let's say, for sake of example,